Hey, welcome everybody to our Brisk Teaching webinar, Brisk Teaching, the AI multi-tool for education. So excited to be learning with you guys here tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this webinar. Now, I know some folks have joined live. Some of you may be watching this as a recording. Either way, I just appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to participate in this. Now, for those that have joined live, please continue to do what you're doing. I see in the chat a lot of folks are introducing themselves and saying where they're from and what their role is in education. Please continue to do that. I think that is fantastic. I'm seeing some Alabama, and we got some Mississippi. There's a Pennsylvania, Georgia, New York, New Jersey. Just saw a Canada a little while ago. Ohio, where I am from. So please continue to say hi in the chat. Alaska. Oh, awesome, Jim. Thanks for being here. That's fantastic. So please continue to do that. While everybody is getting settled in, though, I'm going to start off with just a little bit of housekeeping to make sure everybody can get the most out of this session. So on the screen here, you should be seeing on the screen a link, a bit.ly link. This bit.ly link on there, that is going to get you to the resource document that I'm going to be pulling resources from for this session. That is at bit.ly/Curts, that's my last name, -Brisk. Now, I will go ahead and drop that link also into the chat. If it's easier for you guys to just click on in the chat, I will drop that into there as well. But it is, again, just bit.ly/Curts-Brisk. Now, where that takes you to is a Google document, and the document looks like this: Brisk Teaching, the AI multi-tool for education. Everything that we're covering in this session, you can find in this document. I'll explain that a little bit more here in just a second, but that has all of the resources that we're going to be working through. So as you're getting settled in, I'd encourage you to pull that up. Well, let's do this. Let me do a quick introduction here while everybody is getting settled in. So hi, my name's Eric. I am an educator in Northeast Ohio. This is my 34th year in education. I've been doing this a real long time. I was a middle school math teacher and then switched into the role as an ed tech coach. That's what I do. That's my day job. I work at a regional service center up here in Northeast Ohio, where we serve about 40 school districts. And then on the side, I also do my own consulting all around the country, actually all around the world. And I do run a website called controlaltachieve.com. That link is also at the very top of the agenda document. So when you get in there, you'll see Eric's EdTech blog is linked in there at the top. And tell you what, I'll go ahead and drop that link into the chat as well if you want to easily access that. That's where you're going to find all of my resources beyond what we're doing here tonight. This is my blog. This is my website where I share out everything. There's about 10 years worth of blog posts and training guides and slideshows and recorded webinars and just so much stuff there. So please explore the site when you get some time. Just a few things I'll mention really quick about the site. There is for example, a tab just for AI. So if you're wanting to learn more about AI than what we're covering here tonight, do note on my blog, there's an AI tab. That's where you'll find all the bit.lys to all the AI sessions that I do. You'll find all of my tutorial videos on AI, all my blog posts on AI, my tool highlights, so many things there. Other than that, I would also mention I do have a lot of webinars. There's a webinars tab. If you want to catch other trainings that I have done, there's a tab for that. And probably the easiest thing, honestly, is the newsletter tab. I would encourage everybody, if you haven't done so already, sign up for my email newsletter. I get it. Life gets busy and you're like, oh, hey, I love that Control Alt Achieve site, but I forgot about it. I haven't checked it in months. Well, then instead of you having to go to my website can come to you. So you can just sign up for this newsletter. It's free. It's a once a week email where I say, hey, here's all the new things on the site. So if you go to Control Alt Achieve, go to the newsletter tab, you can sign up for that really easily. I'll also drop that link directly into the chat if that's just more convenient for folks to get to that. All right. So anyway, that's me. Now, again, For tonight, though, what we're going to be looking at is brisk teaching. So for those that have still just been settling in, just joining us, once again, that link that you need is what you see at the top there, bit.ly/Curts-brisk. Now, you don't even have to open up that link right now if you don't want to, no worries. But I would say at least take note of it, because that way you can get back to it in the future to easily access that. It's never going away. It's not going anywhere. And you are absolutely free to make a copy. If you'd like to make a copy of it, I don't mind. Totally fine. You can make a copy of that document. You can save it to your drive. You can bookmark it just as a blanket statement. Everything that I create, all of my resources, I release under what is called a Creative Commons license, which means you're allowed to copy, distribute, adapt, use these things any way you want. All I ask is please keep a link back to where you got it from. Other than that, hey, please build on these things. If there's something useful here that you can use with your staff, your students, or for yourself, please do so. All right. So last thing before we dive into the actual content, let's take one last quick look at this document so I can give you the lay of the land there. When you do get into that document there, at the very top, you're going to find all of my contact info. Again, my blog, my email, my newsletter, socials, YouTube. Hey, if your school's looking for some training, here is a link to my PD catalog with over 70 PD sessions that I offer. Please feel free to check that out. I'd be thrilled to provide PD for your school as well. On page 2 of the document, that's where you'll find the slideshow. You don't need to open it, but just there it is if you want it. You can access that there. And then after that, that's it. Everything else is all the content that we are going to be exploring throughout this session. All right, guys, I think that does it. I think we're all in good shape here. So what are we going to be doing in this session? And tell you what, I'm going to disappear off of the screen now so that you can see a bigger version of what I'm sharing. So I'll pop back up at the end, but I'm going to hide myself so you guys can see the screen a little bit better there. We're going to basically do a quick overview of what Brisk is, talk about how you can get it installed to use it. And then most of the time, really, it's just using it. All of the different things we can do with this tool. Now, all throughout the session, I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on the chat. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge because obviously I'm talking at the same time. So at some point in this session, we do have a rep from Brisk who's going to be jumping into the chat as well, and she will be trying to answer some of your questions. So all throughout the session, if you have questions, if you have comments, drop them in the chat. Please do. If I see them, I will do my best to answer your questions. Chances are I'll probably miss them, but our Brisk rep, who is going to be joining here in just a few minutes, will be doing her best to monitor them. Oh, I did see Lois said, is there a certificate of participation available? So there will be, yes. What I'm going to do is for everybody that registered afterwards, you'll be getting an email that has a link to that. So if you're like, hey, Eric, I just came across this, I never registered. Well, you can still do that. You can still, I'll give you the link to register for those that wanted to do that. Here, let me find that really quick for you. So anybody who registered, I will be sending you that link afterwards. Can I find it fast enough? Yes, I can. There it is. So this is the page you need. This has all the registration information on there. So if you haven't registered yet, you still can do so, even though we've technically begun. No worries. You can. Here's also a shorter version of that if you need that. It's bit.ly/brisk-October 7th, since that is today's date. That will let you register. I will be sending out a follow-up email with some additional resources, including an option for a certificate. So thank you so much. All right. Excellent. Well, let's get on into this. So first of all, what is Brisk? Now, if you've never heard of Brisk, no worries at all. You're in the right place. For those of you that have heard about it, please feel free to share in the chat how you have used it, any tips or tricks you have. We all want to learn from you as well. But let's begin with the assumption we have some folks here that this might be brand new to you. Well, Brisk is an AI-powered extension. Now, by an extension, what I mean is something you do need to install. So this is something you would install for the Chrome browser or the Edge browser. Now, I'm using Chrome, so that's what I'll be demonstrating with here tonight. But it's an AI-powered extension that you install one time. As soon as you install it once, then you've got it. And anytime that you want to use it, you'll see that you have this little floating Brisk button, this little B that floats down in the bottom corner here. You can move it anywhere you want, but once you've got it installed, that just sits on your screen. And anytime you need to access it, you can click on it and it pops up a little menu there. And in that menu, you have access to amazing educational tools. 5 main things. I'm going to try to cover all 5 of these here tonight. So be aware, I'm going to move kind of quick because I'm going to try to cover all 5 of these. So some of them I'll touch on a little bit less than others, but just give you a taste for them. Basically, you can use Brisk to create educational content. You can use Brisk to give feedback on student work. You can use Brisk to change the level of content. You can use Brisk to inspect your students' writing, and you can use Brisk to create interactive student activities. All of those things can be done with that tool. And like I said, once you have it installed, it just pops up anywhere you're at. If you've got a PDF, Brisk is there. If you're watching a YouTube video, Brisk is there. If you've got a document or a Google form or a website, an article, a Google slideshow, pretty much anything that you've got up on your screen, if it's on your screen, the little Brisk button will be floating there. You can click on Brisk and you can interact with that content. The way I like to say it is, if you've got it, you can Brisk it. So that's the idea. It's going to be this awesome tool that's just going to be right there for you anytime you need to use it. As far as pricing, I will say this really quick as well as just part of the introduction. I only share tools that have a robust free version. I work with so many schools, and not every school has the budget to be able to purchase tools. So I am very happy to say Brisk has a robust free version that provides you with access to over 40 tools that you can use. And that's what I'm showing tonight. I am not really going into the paid things tonight. I am showing the free features. If we have time and if there's questions about it, I'm happy to talk more about those, but I'm focusing on what is free. Yes, there are subscription plans. Absolutely. You can get it just for yourself at a pro level. Your entire district can get it as well. You can check all of that out. The links are in there. And if you want to try out the pro version with some additional features, I do have a special link. Now that link is in the agenda, so you don't have to worry about copying that down. If you scroll down to page, probably page 2. Yes, actually page 3. It's on page 3 where it talks about pricing. Right there is a link, and I'll copy that link and I'll drop that into the chat as well for you guys. That link you can use to get 3 months of Pro for free. It'll take you to a page where you can put in your email and get that if you would like to. But again, we're focusing on the free stuff here tonight. All right, so let's get going. So the first thing is you would need to install this. If you haven't done so already, please take a moment and feel free to install the extension. If you're using Chrome, there's a link here on page 3 for the Chrome web extension. If you're using Edge, you can head out to the Edge store and install it there as well. I am not going to go through that whole process. I've already got it installed, but I'll just show you what the Chrome web store page looks like. If I pop on over to the page, you see this is what it looks like. Now, I've already got it installed, so my button says remove from Chrome. Obviously, yours would say add to Chrome if you went to install that. Now, once you do install Brisk, it will take you through a little bit of an onboarding. There'll be a quick little thing where it asks you a couple of quick questions, and it's been a while since I've done it, so I don't remember exactly what they are, but it might be like, where do you teach and what do you teach and things like that. There'll be a little bit of an onboarding thing as it goes through, but then that'll get installed. After it gets installed, you now will have Brisk there. One thing I would recommend is pinning it. So like in Chrome, if I come up here to my extensions, I can always pin the ones that I want to have visible. I like to keep Brisk pinned so that I can always see the extension up there at the top. And again, like I said, after that, it's going to show up on every page, anywhere you need it. And of course, you can hide it. If it is getting in the way, if you're like, oh my gosh, this Brisk button, I don't need it right now, you can always click on the extension to hide it. It'll go away. And if you click the extension again, it'll pop back up for you. And you can also move it around if you prefer to move it different places. All right. Well, enough of that. I think we've had all the intro and all the setup we need. Time to try this out. So we're going to get in here and take it for a spin by going through all 5 of those things I mentioned that Brisk can do. The first one is the create button, creating educational content with Brisk. We'll probably spend most of our time here. This is the biggest of the 5, so we'll probably spend the majority of our time here, a little bit less on the other 4, but there's just so much here. Let's get into it. So basically the idea is this: any content you have, articles, web pages, YouTube videos, documents, slideshows, PDFs, pretty much anything you have, you can bring up. You can click on Brisk and then you can click on the create button. And from that create button, you can now generate all kinds of content, slideshows, quizzes, lesson plans, all sorts of things like that. Basically, you pull up your content, you hit create, you choose what you want to create, and then it's going to go ahead and generate that. So let's try it out. So let's say I'm a science teacher and I'm going to be teaching about the life cycle of a butterfly. Let's say it's fourth grade. Let's say it's fourth grade life science, and I'm teaching about the life cycle of a butterfly. And I want to use this article with my students. It's a nice, article talking about the different stages of a butterfly's life cycle, from egg to caterpillar to pupa to adult. And I'm like, hey, I would like to use this and generate some educational content based on this. Well, if I've got Brisk installed, it's just floating down here in the corner. I can give a click on Brisk, and when it pops up, there is that create button that I need. So I go ahead and give a click on the create button, and look at all the stuff I can create. Oh my gosh, there's so much there. So basically, I can use this page as the source to create a quiz, a rubric, a lesson plan, DOK questions, a science lab, a slideshow, a podcast, guided notes, so many different things. There's just loads and loads of options here. Now, real quick, just to be clear, all of these are free. All of these are included in the free plan unless they have this little icon here. You see, some of them have this little school building icon next to them. That means that is a school district plan. So back when I was talking about the pricing, I think I mentioned how there's some different plans there. And I think I mentioned, let me get back to that real quick. Oh, no, I went too far. I went right past it already. So where was let me find my, there it is. I mentioned how there's a school district. That's the one that has a little school building next to it. If you see any stars next to some, that is the pro plan for an educator as well. So be aware of that. Those little icons really do help you to be able to tell really quick whether or not it is a free or a paid option there. So in this case, when I look at what I can create, almost all of these have no special icon to the left of them there. Just these couple down here have the school building and just a few more down here. So we can use any of these, which is great. Well, let's go ahead and create something. Let's start off with something simple. Let's say, let's do some guided notes. Let's say I want my students to read this article, and while they're reading the article, I want them to fill out some guided notes. Perfect. Well, I can click on guided notes, and what it does is pops up this little window here. Now, this is very normal. We're going to see this with almost every tool we do with Brisk. Couple of key things. It does have a pre-made prompt, which it says create some guided notes about this web page. You can always add to that prompt if you want to add some additional instructions or anything else that you want it to focus on. That's fine. You do not need to. You can leave the prompt totally alone, but yes, you are allowed to adjust it if you want to. There's also a spot to pick the grade level that you want this to be appropriate for. In this case, I think I was saying fourth grade. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, fourth grade. That's fine. We're saying it's fourth grade. We'll stick with that. So we're going to say it's going to be for fourth grade. If I want to, I can also add standards. I'm not going to do that for this example here, but I can link in standards as well. I can also choose different languages. If I want to generate these guided notes in a language other than English, I'm going to stick with English for this example here. And so that's pretty much it. I didn't change anything. What did I picked the grade level. That's it. I changed nothing else. I just switched the grade level, and that's it. Click on the Brisket button, and away it goes. So what's going to happen here is basically Brisk is reading the article. And now after it reads the article, it is now building the guided notes for that particular article. It is creating it, in this case, as a Google document that it is saving into my Google Drive, which means I've got this document. I don't have to worry about losing it. It's in my drive. It's there. And now I can do anything I want with this document. If I use Google Classroom, I could, push this out through Google Classroom. If I'm a Schoology or a Canvas user, I could put a link to it in there. I could share it with my students. I could print this out and give students paper copies to fill out. The point is, it's mine to do with any way that I want. It's going to be dropped there right into my Google Drive. And it's based on this article, which is something I love about this. Sometimes when we go and we ask AI to create something for us, we're not totally sure where is it pulling the information from. Is it pulling it from vetted, trusted material? That's what I love about Brisk is I'm starting with my vetted content. This is the website that I want to base this on. So when I run things, that's what it is grounding it in. Let's try something else. Now, a lot of these we're not going to do just because of time. I'm going to try a variety of ones. We did one that was a document. Let's try something that's not a document. Let's try a quiz. Absolutely. That would be great. Let's make a quiz off of this. So I could say, let's build a quiz. Let's say it's 4th grade. Let's do multiple choice, but we could do short answer or long answer. 5 questions is fine. Again, we can adjust to any of these things, but you know what? It looks good to me. Let's hit Brisket. And once again, Brisk is going to read the article, and now it's going to generate, in this case, a Google form that is going to be a quiz. And it's going to be all ready to go. It's going to have the questions. It's going to have the answers. It's going to have the answer key. Now, while it's doing that, though, let me just really clearly say, always double check anything that AI generates. I'm just saying this once as a blanket statement for everything I'm going to show you here in this session. AI is not here to do your job. AI is here to help you do your job better. But the buck still stops with you. You still need to verify everything. It's your assistant, not your replacement. You need to double check. Are these good questions? Are they correct or good answers? Is the answer key correct? Is this information accurate? So please don't ever have Brisk or any tool. It doesn't matter what it is, Gemini or School AI, Magic School, ChatGPT. Don't ever have a tool generate something and just turn around and give it to your students. You have the responsibility to make sure all of that is accurate. But if it's good, fantastic. This has now saved you a lot of time and got you, further along the road there. Okay, let's keep going. Let's try another one here. We did a document. We did a form. How about a presentation? Sure. Here we go. I can create a slideshow based off of this. Let's create a slideshow based off of this. 4th grade, 10 slides. Now, do note this. If you want images, that is part of the paid version. So without images, we would just get the slides with, the text. We would need to add the images in ourselves. So I want to be clear about that the ability to have the images in there, that's going to be part of the paid version there. I will leave the images in just so you can see what they look like. You would pick then a style that you like, hit Brisk, and now it is going to build that slideshow for you. Now, again, if you're using the free version and you don't get the pictures, you'll just need to go back through and drop in some images yourself, but it's going to build all of the content that you would need to have here. So here it goes. It's starting to build this out for us. We've got a slide here on, whoops, I think it grabs. Well, that's interesting. So it grabbed something that I was not expecting it to grab. That is, I might have, what? Hold on a second. Did I click something wrong there? Because that is not what I was expecting to get there. I'm getting a slideshow on fractions. So that may have been my fault. I may have to go back to Oh, you know what? I don't know why, but that was my fault. Totally my fault. I didn't pay attention. See, good learning here. Usually when you come in here and you click on it, it grabs the content from the page. In this case, it did not. And so I just wasn't paying attention. When you click on Brisk and you click on create a presentation, now it says create a presentation about this web page. I wasn't paying attention. I think I might have accidentally clicked and cleared that out. Let's try that one more time now that I've told it that it's about the web page. Always keep an eye on stuff like that. Hopefully that was my error. And hopefully, there we go. There's the butterfly life cycle. So let's just pretend that was a planned mistake. Let's say that was a scheduled teachable mistake. So yes, always do keep an eye to make sure you don't accidentally clear out what was in there, and also make sure that it does realize that it's grabbing that web page there. All right, good deal. And there we go. Perfect. There we go. So there's the butterfly. What is metamorphosis? Types of changes, and now it's going to run through the different stages there. So, although hey, bonus, we got a presentation about fractions. So not too bad for a bonus, but that wasn't what I was looking for. So always good to keep an eye on that. All right. After that, let's hit just a couple more, and then we're going to have to move on to other tools because there's so many other things this thing does. But under Create, what else haven't I covered? How about this? Now, this one is so neat. This is a newer one. The podcast feature. I can say I want to make an audio podcast, an audio summary of this information, because you know what? Sometimes students can learn better, or it can assist them to get content in different formats, not just reading it, but also listening to it. So I could say, let's make a podcast. Now, again, I'm double checking. Yes, it is grabbing this information from this web page. Perfect. And again, you can pick different languages. If you want to have this podcast in a different language, no worries at all. You can do that. I'm leaving everything in English for right now. Again, I can link standards. I could describe more about what I want it to focus on. I could say, hey, focus specifically on the chrysalis stage or something. I could do that. I'm not. I'm just going to leave it as it is. And then as far as the length goes, the free version gives you a 1 to 2 minute podcast. You can do larger or longer ones with the paid versions. But honestly, folks, 1 to 2 minutes, that's a really good summary, especially for students. So let's hit Brisk, give it a moment. And basically what it's doing is it's creating a transcript of 2 pretend co-hosts who are having a conversation about that article. While it's creating the transcript, it's now also creating the audio to go along with that. If you're familiar with things like Notebook LM, very similar kind of an idea there. Now, once that's all done, you'll see I've got my transcript that was generated. Let me play a little clip of it here for you. I believe I shared my audio, so I hope this is coming through for you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maya, and welcome to our nature podcast.
And I'm Carlos. Today we're talking about one of nature's coolest tricks, how butterflies change from tiny eggs into beautiful flying insects.
That's right. This amazing process is called metamorphosis, which means change in shape.
And I'll pause that there. Again, I hope that audio is coming through for you guys. Now, once that's done, up here, there's a little link button. I can just click on that link and boom, as simple as that, I could now give that link to my students and they would be able to listen to it. Hey, I'll tell you what, I'll drop this in here for you guys right now. If anybody wants to check it out, here is that link. I'll put it into the chat and you can pull this up as if you were a student. You can read the transcript. You can listen to it as well. You can change the speed. So it's a wonderful way to be able to help students process information in more than one way. Now, I'm not saying, hey, they still should read the article, but now they have this additional support. I know that I learned very well through audio. Now, before I say completely goodbye to the create button, the last thing I'm going to mention is, what if you scroll down through this list and you're like, Eric, this is great. I love this. Rubrics and lesson plans and science labs and math word problems and all these sort of things. And you're like, this is fantastic, but I wish there was a button that did something else. Like, I wish there was a button that could create song lyrics, or I wish there was a button to address common misconceptions or something like that. Well, look at this, guys, at the top. There's a button called Create Anything. And so if you don't find what you're looking for here, you can click on the Create Anything button and just tell it what you want. Like, yeah, maybe I am trying to do something about common misconceptions. I could say that, hey, provide common misconceptions about the life cycle of a butterfly, along with explanations of what is true. And then I could pick again the grade level. And over here, I can decide what format I want. Is it a document, a slideshow, a form? Is it Word? Is it PowerPoint? Well, a document's fine. And go ahead and click Brisk. And now it's going to generate that for me. So the point is, the sky's the limit. You can use that create anything button and really create pretty much anything that you need to create with that. So we'll give that a little bit of time as that is going to now, once again, process through that information and generate that here for us. Well, hopefully it will. We'll give it a moment and see. It is thinking about that. It is working on that. Well, while it's doing that, we'll circle back around to it and take a look. The other thing that I did want to mention is please remember this isn't just for websites. Yes, I've been using a website this entire time, but it's not just for websites. I mentioned earlier that you can use you can use Brisk and the create button on pretty much any kind of content you bring up. So let's say I had like a YouTube video. Here's a great one from Crash Course US History, where we're talking about Prelude to Revolution. Well, if this is a video my kids need to watch, I can click on Brisk. I can go to create, and guess what, folks? I can create all of these things for the video. What's it going to do? It's going to grab the transcript of the video. It's going to process that transcript, and it's going to generate that content for us. Other things, how about a PDF? Oh, this document did not create. Looks like we had a problem at the moment. That's okay. We will just try that one more time. If at first you don't succeed, just try again. Never hurts. Whoops, let's do create anything. Let's try that one more time, and we'll let that do its thing. And hopefully this time will be, and if not, no, oh, nope, there it goes. It's doing it now. So, hey, if at first you don't succeed, always good to click a second time. And so there's the one that's generating those misconceptions. Now, as I mentioned, though, we can also do this with videos. We can also do this with PDFs. Here's a PDF all about the Pythagorean theorem. I could click on Brisk, go to create, and I could create content from this PDF, like math word problems based off of this, things like that. Now, you can also note there is also a little paperclip here. If you click on Brisk, you can hit the paperclip and you can upload PDFs, images, Word docs. You can upload them as well. So if they're not online, if they're on your computer, you can actually feed it the PDF, and then it can generate from that as well. All kinds of things, even pictures. Here's an image, a JPEG image. I can click on Brisk, create, and I could generate, a science lab based off of this water cycle. So as I said before, typically, if you can see it, you can Brisk it. All right, guys, we are going to move on now from the create button, and we're going to move on to some of the other tools. As I mentioned, all of these are the free tools. There are a small handful of paid tools, and don't forget the create anything button. Well, we are going to move on. Everything we've covered so far, though, is in the document there. If you want to revisit any of this, looks like it's about page 4, starts that off with a bunch of examples as well as the free tools and great little YouTube videos to explain many of these tools here for you as well. All right. So we're going to move on to the next tool. And by the way, I did see that Elizabeth from Brisk has joined the chat. So that is fantastic. Hey, Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here. So if you do have questions that I am not able to take the time to catch, she is monitoring all of those, and she's going to give you not only the right answer, but probably a much better answer than I would give, because that's her job. So she knows all of these things. So I'm so glad she is in the chat. Fantastic. All right, so let's keep on moving. Another button in Brisk is the change level and translate button. And so basically the idea is, again, I can pull up content and I can use Brisk to modify that content. And a very common use of this is to re-level things. Maybe it's not at the appropriate reading level, and we want to make it adjusted for our students. So basically, we're going to pull up the content, the article, the web page, the document, whatever it is. We're going to hit change level and then pick a grade level, potentially pick a different language if we wanted to, and let it do that adjustment for us. So for that one, let's go ahead and try that with let me grab a different article. So here's an article on the Boston Tea Party. And let's say it's a really good article. I like it. I think it's going to be really useful, but it's not quite at the level that's going to be appropriate for my students. Well, if I've got Brisk installed, all I do is give a click on Brisk, and I go to change level. At that point, it's going to do a quick assessment of what it believes the reading level to be. It's thinking it's around a 10th grade level. Okay, excellent. Well, I might say, you know what? This is for my 8th grade students, so I want to drop this down to 8th grade. Or maybe that's not the issue. Maybe I've got some English language learners in my class, and it would be beneficial for me to drop it down a little further as they are still learning English. And so this would help adjust that a little bit more. So maybe I say sixth grade for them. Now, having said that, I could also, of course, translate it into another language as well. But in this case, I'm just going to drop the reading level. Go ahead and click on the change reading level button. And once again, it's going to generate, in this case, a Google document, just like we've seen before, that is being saved to my drive. So this is going to be in my Google Drive. I do love how it gives a link to the original article. So you're not losing the original article. It's still there. A student could always click that link to get to where it came from. But now you have this version. And again, you could share it through Classroom or Schoology or Canvas or however you want to make this available to your students. And this will be their re-leveled version of that. All right, good stuff. And by the way, I should have mentioned this earlier. Almost every time when you get done generating something, you will see this pop up as well where it says, hey, how did we do? And so you can be like, hey, that's great, but make it shorter, make it longer, more detail, less detail, translate it, make a change, build something else from it. So be aware you can always add on and make additional adjustments afterwards. All right. Let's keep on going. Next up, the next button we're going to look at is the give feedback with Brisk. So the idea behind this button is to provide personalized feedback for our students' writing. Now, it doesn't have to be just writing. You can use documents. You can use slideshows. You can give feedback on, again, pretty much any file that you want to give it on. I'm going to use writing for my example here today. So I have, let me grab the pretend essay we're going to use. Now, this is not a real essay. This is just one that I created for this purpose. It has some intentional spelling errors and grammatical mistakes and things like that. An essay on the causes of the Boston Tea Party. Well, with Brisk, I can choose between 4 different feedback styles. Now, 3 of these are included in the free version: Glow and Grow, Rubric Criteria, and Next Steps, the targeted feedback that is part of the paid version for it. But once again, we're going to pull up the document or the content, the file. We're going to choose Give Feedback, choose the kind of feedback we want to give, and that is now going to generate that for us. So let's try it out. So I'm going to come down here, click on Brisk, go to Give Feedback. And again, for this one, let's go with Glow. And let's start with Glow and Grow. We'll use that for a simple example. This is one that basically says, hey, what did you do well? And what do you need to work on? So in this case, I'm going to, again, pick the grade level. Let's say this is an 8th grade essay. That's fine. And I could click on standards. I could link in standards if I want. I'm not going to do that right now. And I could add a rubric. Give me a moment. I'll do that for the next example. We'll come back around to that. So, and again, if I wanted to, I could type in some additional things in the prompt if I really wanted to focus on something in particular. But let's just see how good it does just right out of the box. So let's hit the Brisk button. Give it a moment. What it's doing is it's reading that essay, and it is creating, first of all, some personalized feedback for Glow. What did you do well? Grow, what could you work on? And then it also includes wondering, what could you go further? Where could we go deeper into this? Now, what do you do with this feedback? Well, that's up to you. Remember, I've said it before, I'll say it again. AI is not here to do your job. It's here to help you do your job better. AI is your assistant. Back when I was in college, I was a TA, a teacher's assistant. I helped with, creating content and making notes and grading and things like that, but I was just the assistant. Same thing here. AI is your TA. It is your assistant. So the idea is this is a second set of eyes. You can read through this feedback, and maybe this is really good feedback that you want to use with your student. Well, awesome, fantastic. You can copy it. You can copy all of it. You could just hit the insert button and drop it all in. That's totally fine. But then I would recommend going through and putting your own personal touch on it. Rewrite some things, put your own personality into it. If there's things that aren't quite what you wanted to say, remove stuff, add things, but it's giving you a base to work from, something to work off of. Okay. So that was an example of that one. Let's also real quick under Give Feedback, let me show you the rubric criteria one. one. So with rubric criteria, it's going to be very similar, 8th grade, blah, 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 but I should add a rubric for that. And I do have one. So I'm going to click on rubric, and it's this one right here, 8th grade Boston Tea Party causes. There we go. We'll add that in. If you want to see what that rubric looks like, it looks like that. It's a 4-point rubric with these different criteria there. And so now I can say, let's create feedback for that. And it is now doing that. It is going to generate feedback for each one of those criteria there. So content and analysis, organization and structure, and on down the line. So now it's going through my rubric and it's evaluating this based on my rubric. When all of that is done, I can click on insert again, and I could go in there and again adjust this however I want so that it's personalized between me and the student, but it gives me a really good starting point there, which is nice. All right. Now, you may have noticed when I went to give feedback, you may have seen this thing at the top called batch feedback. Now, this is really new. I don't know if it technically is still beta or not, but it is like really, really, really new. I'll show you very quickly the general idea behind it. This is if you want to give feedback on a bunch of documents at once. What we've been doing here has been more just one at a time. We're going in and giving feedback on those. Batch feedback allows you to do this for a whole group of assignments. So if I click on batch feedback, it actually takes you to a different page because this is a little bit more complicated. We can't quite do it from that interface. It takes you to the Brisk Teaching website app, which we will revisit again later. We will come back to this. It takes you to the batch feedback tab on here, and you'll see at the top there's a spot to import your students' work. You can grab a folder in Google Drive and grab as many files as you want from that folder. You can also just go to Google Classroom and grab an assignment from there. I'm going to do that just to make it really quick and simple here. But again, Drive would work, Classroom would work. So I'm going to come here and I'm just going to grab my demo class. Again, these are not real students. A demo assignment, Boston Tea Party. And now it finds 5 assignments. Again, these are all pretend assignments. I'll select all of those assignments there. We'll move on to the next step. What kind of feedback do I want? Oh, I got to give access here. Hold on. Let's select all of these. Looks like it wants some access here. Hopefully that makes it happy. There we go. Good. Okay. Now what kind of feedback? I'm going to do rubric again. That's fine. So we'll stick with rubric, and then we will add that exact same rubric that we were just using there. Now, again, I can change the grade level. I can add standards. I can put in a focus. I'm going to go ahead and hit create assignment, and that's it. It is now grading all 5 of those. It's going through all 5 of them. It's going to take it a little bit of time, but once it's all done, I will now have all of those graded, and I can go in and click on them one at a time and go. I'm still going to go through the same process. I'm still going to read the feedback. I'm still going to insert it. I'm still going to approve it, but I don't have to do that first step, 25 times. In this case, I know it's only 5, but now I can go in and I can click on any one of these, and I will see, here you go. That was this assignment. And then this was the rubric feedback that was generated. I can go in and take a look at all of that feedback. And if I like it, great. I can insert that feedback into there. If I don't, I can, again, edit things, change things, adjust them however I want. But if I'm happy with it, awesome. Click approve feedback. So I know that's been done. And there we go. And now I can, keep on working through all of my students. I've got 5 students. I will not go through all of these right now, but I can very easily work through all of my students. So this is really moving us in a direction of just streamlining this. So it does all of the generation at once, and then you can just click through and process each of these as you go. So that's pretty slick. That's a nice new feature there. All right. Next up, I know, guys, we're moving fast, but again, Elizabeth is in the chat. She's going to help you if you've got questions, and she's doing a great job of doing that. So next tool we're going to look at here, and tell you what, let me clean up a couple of my tabs. I just get way too many things open. That always happens. Let me just get back to here. Next is the inspect writing button. Okay, so this is a phenomenal button. I love this one inside of Brisk. What it does is it takes any student work and it generates let's say a video playback of the amount of work the student put into their writing. Now, what's going on here? Well, basically, it's what's called version history in a Google document. You probably know that this exists, but whenever you're typing in a Google document, Google records every change you make. It records who made the change, what time they made the change, when they made the change. All of that's recorded. Well, Brisk is simply taking that recorded content that's already in there, that's just part of Google Docs, and displaying it in more of a visual format. So let me show you what I mean by this. So let's say I've got this essay here. Again, not a real essay, just a pretend essay. But let's say I'm going, I'm reading this and it just doesn't sound quite like that student. They're maybe using some vocabulary or some phrasing, or just the tone doesn't sound like what I've seen from that student before. Well, this is a valid concern, especially in the age of AI. What if a student is using ChatGPT or Gemini or something to write their essay for them, and they're just putting it into this document here? How can I know that? How can I tell if that's what's going on? Well, first of all, folks, there's no, perfect answer. I'm not saying this is the solution, but it's one piece of the puzzle. What I can do if I'm ever like, I'm a little unsure about this document, I can click on Brisk and then I can click on Inspect Writing. And what that's going to do is it's going to generate that video playback. Now, before I do that, let me give you the little spoiler alert here. I did not write this entire document. What I did do was I wrote the first paragraph. I really did. I typed the entire first paragraph, but then I pasted the second one. And then I did type the third, but I pasted the entire fourth. I typed the fifth, but then I pasted the sixth. And so I pasted every other one. So let's see if we can see that. So I'm going to click Inspect Writing and tell you what, I'm going to slow this down because it's way too fast at first. Let's take that down to 5x speed and let's start it up again. Perfect. And so what you're looking at here is literally me typing. That is me. That was me literally typing this up. Every time you see something green, that means I'm typing something. If you see red, I'm deleting mistakes that I made. So you see, I make a few typos and I delete them. What are these icons down here? That's where pasting occurred. There are 3 pastings in this document. Well, we're coming up on one. So I'm typing. Everything looks good. But then suddenly, out of nowhere, boom, there's the paste. And so this whole paragraph gets pasted in, and then I start typing again. And so this gives us at least some insight into the process that the student has put into their work. And that's what's so important. When we talk about, and I've got a whole entire session where I do a big deep dive into the whole issue of cheating. If you want to check that out on my AI tab on my blog, I have a session that's called Did a Robot Write This Report? Managing AI Cheating. Here, I'll copy that link for you guys and I'll drop that into the chat for you there. I'm going to tell you, it's not a quick answer. Actually, I have a video on it as well. I think my video is like almost an hour long. It's 50 minutes long. Here's the video on Did a Robot Write This Report? And so the point is, there's no simple answer. It's more a matter of us shifting from just grading the product to grading the process, being able to have multiple checkpoints, being able to monitor the student's work, using tools like Brisk to help with that. Those are just little pieces of it, but altogether, those move us in a positive direction. All right. Well, that brings us to the 5th button in our Brisk collection of tools, which is the Boost Student Activity button. Now, folks, fair warning here. We could use an entire hour just for this. I'm going to do it in like 5 minutes or so. So just fair warning, this does deserve a lot more time than I'm going to give it right now, but I want to at least give you enough information that you get the idea behind it and you can at least start exploring it. This is one of the tools that I am by far the most excited about when it comes to what Brisk can do, because up till now, everything we've been looking at have been tools to support you as a teacher. And yes, absolutely support your students too, but none of them have actually been student facing. They were not actually interacting with the student. This is that. So here's the idea. The Boost button in Brisk allows you to take any content that you've got, no matter what it is, any content, just like we've been doing, and you can generate a customized AI chatbot based on that content for your students to interact with. You can give them a tutor or a character chat or a debate partner or a brainstorming session. And the AI will take this content, it will interact with the student as they cover that content, and it will adjust to the student's needs. This is personalized learning. If there's a student who is struggling and you create a tutor bot from Boost and they're struggling, well, it's going to re-explain and try a different way to explain to them. If there's a student who is doing really well, it's going to let them go further and it'll challenge them and stretch them. This is the promise of AI in that it is giving personalized learning opportunities for our students. And what's even better is it's not just doing that for our students, it's collecting all of that information for you. Everything the AI types, everything the student types, it's all recorded. You can go in and see how well your students are doing, how they're meeting the objectives. So now you have actionable insights in the, oh, these are the 5 students I need to pull aside and do some additional support with because I can see they're struggling on that. So basically the idea is we're going to pull up some content. We're going to choose the Boost option in Brisk, and then we're going to run through the process of setting this up. So tell you what, you know what, I'm just going to use the butterfly one. It's fine. We'll just do this one. Let's say we all want to learn about butterflies, but I want to create an interactive Boost activity for this. So I'm going to click on Brisk, and then I'm going to click on Boost Student Activity. Now, heads up, real quick. What you're going to see on my screen is a newer version. It's kind of like the beta version of Boost. Your screen may look a little different, but I guarantee you all of the content's the same. They've just kind of laid out the steps a little differently. So be aware, my account has, early access to some of the beta things. So this is a sneak preview of the new layout of it, but the steps, the actual content, the functionality is still the same. Your screen will just look a little bit different if you go through and try to do this yourself later, which I would encourage you to do. So I'm going to say, let's create a Boost student activity based off of this web page. I'm going to say, yes, let's use this web page to make a Boost student activity. And now it's going to walk me through a little wizard. Now, again, your screen may look a little different when you do this later. It is still the same information. It's just a little bit of a different layout here. So what I'm going to do here is decide which kind of pre-made Boost activity do I want. Do I want to use a tutor, a debate bot? Do I want to do a brainstorming activity, a character chat? That's awesome. We can have students interviewing Abraham Lincoln or interviewing, Jay Gatsby. That's awesome. Do we want to do an exit ticket? Do we want to do a writing coach? So many possibilities. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to stay with tutor for this example. I want to have my students be tutored by the AI chatbot. Now, again, I can add standards. I can add a rubric. I can change the language. I can change the grade level. Actually, I will make this 4th grade because we've been doing that for this particular example here. Okay, I'm going to hit continue. It is now going to generate learning objectives, and it does this with the current version. This is just a little bit of a different layout, does the exact same thing with that as well. What it does is it builds objectives, and I love this. Boost activities are not just a open-ended conversation. There's goals to be achieved. And so it decided, based on 4th grade and based on this content, this is probably what the students should be able to do. Identify the 4 stages of metamorphosis, explain the purpose of them, explain how they change, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if I'm like, that's pretty good, but you know what? I really don't need to worry about complete versus incomplete metamorphosis. Let's get rid of that one. Or I could add my own objective, or I could edit these objectives. You can change these if you want to. There's also a section with AI guardrails that explains how the AI needs to behave. And again, you can get to this in the current version as well. This is just a little bit of a different layout, and also scaffolding. If a student is struggling, if they're advanced, how do you encourage them to go further? How do you meet them where they're at? You can adjust all of this. This is completely editable. But once you're happy with it, go ahead and hit create activity. And there you go. This has now built a custom AI chatbot that is designed to have the students read the content and then come over here and chat with the tutor. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys the link to this right now. Let me come up here and let me copy the link. So there's the link. I'm going to drop it into the chat right now. And anybody that wants to, you are absolutely welcome to give a click on that and start having your own conversation with this AI chatbot. The idea is basically, I'm still in the I'm in the teacher view. This is still the teacher view, but I would definitely encourage you, before you do share out the link to somebody, please try it out yourself first. So I could hit let's go, and I could see what it's going to say to me. Hey there, we're excited to learn about metamorphosis. Can you tell me what you already know about this? And so it's asking me to interact with it. I would always encourage you, please try it out yourself first. And if you find out that it wasn't quite what you were looking for, just go up to the edit section and edit those learning objectives, make some changes to them, or go up to the edit section and change the role where you've got the guardrails and the scaffolding. You can make changes to it, but if it is good and you're happy with it, that's where you can come up here to the share button, get that link, give that link to your students. So let's do this. I'm going to open up an incognito window and pretend that I'm a student here. And this is what I get. What's my name? So I'll just put in Eric C. Now you can have it set that the students have to log in. That's an option. We're not going to go into that right now. If you do want them to log in with like a Google account or something, you can have them do that. I'm just doing this very simple. And there we go. So up at the top, here are the 3 objectives that I've got to cover. I hit let's go, and I start having my conversation over here where it's saying, okay, what do you know? Can you tell me what you already know? I could say something like, I think they go into a cocoon and come out as a butterfly, and so I could put that in. Now, do note, there is a little speaker button so it can read this aloud to your students. There's also a little microphone button so the student can speak. Very good for younger students. They can speak their responses. They can listen to the content. There's also an attach option if they need to upload some content to show what they've created. That's good as well. But here we go. Hey, great start. You're thinking about the cocoon. That's important. Actually, there's 4 different stages. Can we start diving into this? What's the first stage? Is it the egg? And so, and notice this is the really cool thing. Look up here, guys, at the top under my learning objectives. As I'm answering these, they're starting to get colored in. They're going from gray to like orangish, whatever, to reddish, I guess, to green. When they turn green, I've met that objective. So I could keep having this conversation here. Now, the cool thing is, as a teacher, I've got access to all of this. I can go to my view progress button here, and I can see everybody who has joined this, and I can see how well you're doing. Look at this. And you guys are doing great here. Folks are really doing a great job. And I can go in and say, hey, Eric C., let's take a look at what he's doing. I can click on the view button and I can read his entire conversation. I can see everything that he wrote, everything the AI wrote. I can see how well he's met the objectives. I can download the chat. I can pause it if I need to. And there's more. Like I said, folks, we could spend a lot more time. If a student types in something inappropriate, it gives me a little warning on here. If the student copies and pastes their response instead of typing it, it gives me a little warning here. All of that, phenomenal. So absolutely, absolutely love the boost feature. That is the tip of the iceberg. It does a whole lot more stuff than that, but that is the tip of the iceberg with it. All right. At that point, folks, we have hit the 5 main buttons of Brisk. The only thing I have left is just a couple of quick little things. One is another beta that's going on right now. It's something called Brisk Next. If you haven't seen this yet, I just want to put it on your radar. We're not going to spend more than like a minute on this just to show you the idea. This is a beta feature that Brisk is working on and should have available for most folks to try out. That when you are clicking on the Brisk button, you will see a little home icon that is to get to Brisk Next. And basically what it is a web page where Brisk can help you brainstorm good resources to help support your content. So if I come here and I click on that little home button, it's going to pop up Brisk Next. And from here, if I'm saying, you know what, I'm going to be doing a unit on food webs, and I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know what to do. But I could come here and say, you know what, I'm doing something on food webs, and it's for 5th grade. I could even go to my standards. I could say, yeah, I'm here in Ohio, and I'm teaching science and it's 5th grade and yeah, we're doing life science and there's food webs. Perfect. And so I could say, okay, this is what I'm doing, but I don't even know, I'm not sure what would be good for this. Well, I can put all that in, and from Brisk Next, when I click that button, it's going to come up with all of these suggestions of things I might want to create based on this. Now, could I have done all of these individually? Yes, these are all the tools that are already in Brisk. It's things like make a slideshow, make a podcast, create guided notes, create an ecosystem role play, do an inquiry activity as a food web detective. Here's a character chat. Here's a quiz. Any one of these I could have done individually, but now I can go and go, oh, that's a great idea. Hit create, boom, it makes it. Oh, that's a great idea. Hit create, boom, it makes it. Or of course, I could hit the edit button and go in and tweak it, and then it could adjust it for me. You get the idea. I could get more ideas from this as well. Now, again, I'm not doing this justice. It does more than that, but that's at least the beginning for it. It's a really great place to help you see just a bunch of ideas for what you might want to generate. All right, folks, I think that gets me pretty close to the end here. We're going to do a couple of things. I think I've already mentioned all of these little tips and tricks here. I think we did that. So what I want to do as we start to land this plane is a couple of things. First of all, if you have a question that I did not get to, that Elizabeth did not get to, please go ahead and throw it back in the chat. I'll do my best to look over there and see if there's anything that I still need to address. But as we start to wrap up, this is just the beginning, folks. You really should hopefully take this hour of content and now build on it. How can you do that? A lot of ways. So at the very bottom of our agenda document, let's get that agenda document back up at the very bottom, all the way down to the bottom under learn more. Here are some resources to keep going. So for example, Brisk's website, you can head out to the website. There's tons of great resources there. Next, their YouTube channel. Oh my gosh, so good. The Brisk Bites video series, they're all very short, 3, 4, 5 minutes long. They cover everything you need to know. That's fantastic. And also the Brisk community. Head on over to the community link page here. There's so many ways you can plug into the community there to join and learn with people. They've got a Facebook educator group. You can join Club Brisk. Just lots of ways to continue to learn. This is just the beginning. I also want to say, as we start to wrap up, thank you. Thank you so much for letting me be a small part of your learning. I'm actually going to pop back on the screen here now that we're starting to wrap up. So I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of your learning. It means a lot, whether you're here live or watching the recording. Please remember that everything that we covered, all of this content, you can get to in my resource document at bit.ly/Curts-Brisk. Don't forget, at the very top of that document is all of my contact info. Check out my blog, my email, my PD catalog, my email newsletter, all of those resources there. And definitely when you do get on my site, make sure you check out the AI tab with all of those resources and the other things that are there as well. So as we start to wrap up, I'm looking in the chat. I'm seeing a bunch of thank yous. I don't see any questions at the moment. So I'm sure Elizabeth has been doing a great job cleaning all of those questions up as they came in. So again, thank you so much for being a part of this. I really appreciate the opportunity to learn with y'all. Take care. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Thanks so much.